the thing I want to talk about today is libido, because I think there's a lot of misunderstanding about how libidos actually work. So, most people think a libido works like this: you suddenly feel horny and you want to have sex. And it could be as simple as seeing someone that you find attractive, or even just for Patty, for example, like a single body part. He can just look at boobs and be like, woo, I'm ready to go. And this is what scientists call spontaneous desire. And this is how libidos work for approximately 75% of men. But women are different. And I don't, it's funny because most of the sex research that was done early on, when they started doing sex research, which was just in the last, during the 1900s. I mean, I'm sure they did it before, but where it got, where science got serious about it, they studied men. And it's only been in the last 30 years that scientists have started to recognize that women actually might work differently. So we have this idea that our libidos are supposed to work this way because they only studied men. Well, they found out that actually only approximately 15% of women have spontaneous desire, which means we have a different kind of libido. And it's many more of us have what scientists refer to as responsive desire. So the way responsive desire works is that you actually have to be turned on before you ever feel horny and want to have sex. And this is just a different way of looking at a libido, which means that if something sexual isn't already happening, maybe you're not, something that actually turns you on isn't happening, you may never feel like having sex. Meaning you never will feel horny. You actually have to get something going before you're ever going to feel horny and want to have sex. And this is how my libido works. So Patty and I, in our relationship, for the majority of the years of our 24 years of marriage, we had problems in this area. It seemed like he always wanted to have sex and I never did. And it just caused so much tension between us. I felt like he was pressuring me to have sex all the time. And I found that very annoying. And he was feeling rejected all the time because I would be like, no, I don't feel like, I don't want to. And of course, occasionally I would give up. And the crazy thing is that when did give up, it wasn't like I didn't like sex. When we had sex, it was great. It was just that I never felt horny. So that's the other way that responsive desire works is, you usually are liking the sex. You just never really feel like you want to do it. So this was a problem for us. And when I learned about responsive desire, it was like an epiphany. I wasn't broken. I just have a libido that works in a different way. And once you understand that, if you happen to have responsive desire, by the way, men can also have responsive desire. And our libidos change so much in our lives, with our aging and our hormones and even stress. Stress is like a huge libido killer. So, as you ebb and flow through your lives, I mean, I don't, there's no scientific research that I've seen that studies this, but I would, in my experience, sometimes Patty's responsive desire, he doesn't really feel like it, but once we get started, he's really into it. So I think this can happen more often than maybe even the scientists know. Um, but once you understand that, it's like empowerment, empowerment to take control of your sex life and not wait until you feel like having sex, because for some of us, we never will. We never will until we start doing something. And that's been my experience. And so when you take that step to say, I'm going to say yes to something, to kissing, to trying, and allow yourself to get aroused, then I think that, and then, then making the decision after you're already somewhat into it, if you're feeling it or not feeling, that's a better technique than just saying, no, I don't feel like it, especially if you have responsive desire. Also, in this whole, and I'm going to talk more about this in the next one, but I do want to talk just for a second about arousal. And I think it's really important to know what turns you on, like for yourself. You should really know what turns yourself on, and also, help teach your partner that, and maybe your partner knows more about how to turn you on. But know what does really turn you on. I think that that quest to figure that out is important and it's crucial. And yeah, and I think the other thing that we don't think about as often is also knowing what turns us off. Like things that are like, ugh, ugh, I can't, that's not my thing. By the way, this is both turn-ons and turn-offs are very different for each person. Um, so sometimes again, like going back to the turn-offs. So for me, if there's any like icky smells, especially on Patty's body, like have this I have this rule, like no funk on your junk. That's just my thing. Like we have to prepare the area. I want him to get in the shower and get super squeaky clean before we start really getting into it, because that makes me feel relaxed and that makes me feel like I can, the boundaries come down and I'm not worried about getting grossed out or getting turned off in the middle of it.